Hello there gamers. So, I finally finished Life is Strange True Colors. Now, I was going to make a series of playing this, but unfortunately I lost footage for part 2. So yeah, Life is Strange True Colors is my least favourite in the franchise. Yeah, I'm serious. I haven't seen any of the proper reviews, but I know that the general conception is that it's really good, and yeah, it has got some great elements, but there is just too much in this game that I do not like at all. And today I want to talk / rant about it. So this game took me months to beat, and it all came out at once, unlike the others games. In those, the chapters would come out every month or two, but here everything was available from day one, and it still took me 3 months to do. Now, before I get into why I didn't enjoy this game as much as the other games before it, I would like to say some nice things, because I think in the grand scheme of things, it's unfair to call this game bad. It's decent. But in a game series like Life is Strange, decent is a big step down. But I'll be fair, so here are some things I like in this game. The lighting and atmosphere is the best game in the series. Everything in this game looks absolutely stunning, and I think the protagonist is pretty good. Maybe not as interesting as Chloe, but still pretty good. The graphics are very visually stunning. All the characters look so expressive, which definitely helps with this game, as emotions are one of the main aspects. And I really like the bond between characters. I was so invested in the relationship being built with Alex and Steph. On paper, this game would have been a masterpiece, but they just had to screw up the story. The story in this game is a mess. Not just with the lack of consistency, but also the pacing is garbage. I'm sorry, but pacing is one of the most important parts to any story-focused game. The most interesting chapter in this game was when we were playing an elaborate live-action game of D&D with this kid, and even that just made me want a Life is Strange-themed Dragon Quest. Square Enix got on that. So the basic plot is that Alex is a girl with a very troubled past who reunites with her brother after years. He then gets killed in a mining accident in the first chapter. Sad, right? Nope, because we barely got on to know him. Okay, whatever. So Alex realized that something ain't right with the mining company, and why would they sort off the explosion when they were told not to? This mystery happens for like 3 whole chapters. Meanwhile, we are doing pretty much nothing. Oh, but you're not ready for this next part. Alex finds evidence of the explosion being set off to cover something up. She finds these emails and phone calls which are literally saved on a USB drive in someone's purse. Like, Jesus Christmas, don't you want to like delete those calls or something? Are these people actually stupid? Oh, but it gets a lot worse. When they find out that she's found this evidence, they no joke bully this police officer into covering it up. He even comes back at the end and is like, oh, I won't be pushed around by you bullies anymore. And it's like, Jesus Christ, man, you have a motherfucking gun on you. So yeah, we get interrogated by our boss and he turns out to be a twist villain. Alright, to be fair, he is significantly better written than Mr. Jefferson's reveal in the first game. That was an absolute joke in retrospect. So we fall down an extremely steep mine and Alex just tanks all of these hits. And we can eventually somehow walk away after a dream sequence involving her backstory. And this part was okay. It's a fairly inoffensive part. And then we go to expose our boss and we make him cry or something, I don't know. And boom, the game ends, we live happily ever after. And man, I don't know how it is for other endings, but man, I got nothing out of this ending. In every other game, it truly feels like a journey has come to an end, and all the choices we made along the way have greatly impacted you, especially in Life is Strange 2. But here, it just feels like we're back at stage 1. Honestly, nothing has been affected by my choices. The only change is that I decided not to leave the town and I decided to date Steph. However, the impact of the greater story is pretty much insignificant. Even things in the mandatory plot, like us almost dying, did nothing to our character. Alex never has a full character arc or a change in personality. She's the exact same as when she started out. Even after all she's been through, she's literally the exact same. Nothing has changed. This is like the complete opposite to Life is Strange 2. That game took everything you did, not just in your final choice, but every choice you made in the whole game, and gives you an ultimate test at the end. When you get a certain ending, that truly feels like it's your ending, even though there are only 4 of them. And here, it just feels like I've done nothing. So yeah, that's the plot. Another problem I have with this game is that on paper, Alex's power of being able to read other people's emotions had so much potential, and yeah, it does lead to some great storytelling, but unfortunately, I don't think it was very interesting gameplay wise. I don't feel very accomplished since it basically tells you what to do. In the first game, yeah, it told you when to time travel, but it never told you what to do once you've time traveled. That was where that game really shined, the creativity in the puzzles involving time travel. Here, it just feels like I do what the game tells me to do. Hit this button, okay, puzzle over. It just doesn't feel that rewarding. Now, what's my overall views on this game? Well, it can be great. There are a lot of cases where this game has glimpses of a masterpiece, but unfortunately, it's just dragged down by some of the gameplay and most of the story. Too much of the story is just hanging out and wasting time. It feels counterproductive. Possibly my favourite way of storytelling is how they do it in Life is Strange 2, where there's a clear goal and they have to travel around a lot of different places to reach said goal. This leads to experiencing many different settings and meeting new characters along the way. It also leads to many different character arcs and changes in personalities as we progress, the exact opposite to what this game does. The closest thing to a character arc in this game is Jed turning evil, and no, twist villains do not count as character arcs. Life is Strange 2 matches that plot perfectly. It manages to go to all different kinds of settings while still feeling tonally consistent, which is something this game does not do at all. So finally, I shall have to rate this game a 4.5 out of 10. Now finally, I shall rank all the games. Starting at last place is this game, 4.5 for the reasons I just explained. Next up is Before the Storm. Pretty good, but it's just not that interesting in the grand scheme of things and a little underwhelming, 6 out of 10. Next up is the OG, a great story, great characters, great atmosphere, and it's tonally consistent. The Kickstarter to one of my favourite video game franchises, 8 out of 10. And finally, you all saw this one coming, Life is Strange 2, my favourite game of all time, joint with Spider-Man PS4. A rich story, amazing characters and themes, 10 out of 10. And with that, Life is Strange True Colours isn't good. Goodbye.